Diablo 4's much anticipated new expansion Vessel of Hatred is nearly out, and today I wanted to start the process in bringing you a Spiritborn build that will absolutely crush the leveling process from level 1 to 60 and even beyond. The aim of this video is to bring you a build that will dominate from day 1 of the new expansion without requiring any drops such as uniques or aspects, which require a certain level of RNG on your side. I'll place a planner for the build down in the comments below. In order to understand the build, it's important to understand some fundamental mechanics around the Spiritborn class, which are new to the game. If you already know this, then you can use the timestamps below to skip to the build. So the Spiritborn has 4 types of skills based on animal spirits. Jaguar skills, which are fire damage based and focus on multi-attacks. Eagle skills, which do lightning damage and are focused on mobility. Gorilla skills, which do physical damage and focus on damage mitigation. Centipede skills, which do poison damage and focus on debuffs and healing. Along with your skills being divided into these categories, these animal spirits also dictate special class bonuses, similar to the druid where you gain some powerful passive bonuses. The Spiritborn can choose 2 bonuses and they don't have to be from the same animal. The first is unlocked at level 15, which is your primary bonus, which is more powerful, and then at level 30 you unlock your secondary bonus, which is less powerful than the primary bonus but still quite strong overall. The Spiritborn's main resource is known as Vigor. Vigor is similar to a barbarian's fury rather than a sorcerer's mana. It starts at 0 and is built up through using your basic attacks or through passive skills, aspects, or powerful items. There's also 2 new effects with Spiritborn: Ferocity, which gives you 5% attack speed per stack up to 4 stacks, and Resolve, which gives you 20% damage reduction when active and can have up to 8 stacks, each one being consumed when you take damage. So the build I'm going to cover today is going to be called the Griffin Spiritborn build. It's basically going to combine the high speed and high damage of both the Eagle and Jaguar spirits to make for a very fast leveling build. Yes, I know a Griffin is technically a half line, but this is the best name I could come up with. If you've got a better suggestion, let me know in the comments below, because all I can think of is Peter Griffin when I'm talking about this build. So let's go over the gameplay loop of the build and what animal spirits this build focuses on. Now the core skill that this entire build revolves around is Quill Volley. Quill Volley is an eagle skill that at base fires 5 feathers which pierce targets, each dealing damage. With enhanced Quill Volley we can quickly make our enemies vulnerable. I'll touch on why vulnerable is super important a little later on. And then with advantageous Quill Volley, we can increase the number of feathers this ability fires out from 5 to a whopping 8, and they do more damage based on how many hits it does to an enemy. This thing just looks like a super juiced version of a Necromancer's Bone Spear. It's a range ability first of all, which when you're low level and have bad gear is much better to level with than melee abilities. And not only that, but it has some of the best AoE coverage I've seen for a ranged ability right out of the gate. And if you stand close to a boss enemy before the feathers diverge too much, this will be a great skill for taking out bosses as well. Quill Volley also perfectly synergizes with the Jaguar spirit, whereby every 4th time we deal damage to an enemy with a Jaguar skill, we unleash additional slashes, dealing 100% of the damage of the 4 hits. Quill Volley can fire 8 feathers, and if you're hitting one enemy multiple times, you're going to trigger the Jaguar spirit so much with this ability. Now I know what you're thinking, isn't Quill Volley an eagle skill? It is, but thanks to the Jaguar spirit, all of our skills now also count as Jaguar skills, so we can really take advantage of it with Quill Volley. Our basic skill, which we're going to be using to generate Vigor, is Thunder Spike. Now for Spiritborn, the 3rd cast of a basic skill is a special move. For Thunder Spike, it pierces further and deals more damage, but not only that, but it reduces our evade cooldown by 5 seconds, which basically resets evade in most scenarios. Now why I absolutely love Thunder Spike is because of Accelerated Thunder Spike, which states when you evade, you attack with Thunder Spike along the way and make enemies vulnerable for 2 seconds. So now using evade is not only going to be a movement tool, but also a method to deal damage and gain vigor, which is super nice for a speed leveling build. And remember, you can reset your evade with Thunder Spike itself, so this is going to feel so fast. You'll definitely want to look out for boots with the intrinsic evade grants movement speed to really cash in on this further. Movement speed actually boosts our damage through one of the Eagle passives in the build, Brilliance, so there's even more synergy to this than I initially thought. Our other ability which causes our enemies to become vulnerable is Razor Wings, which is charge based rather than vigor based. This is another ranged attacking ability which will make our enemies vulnerable and is useful when we are low on vigor, which may be more of an issue whilst leveling. Now the reason I'm gassing vulnerable up so much is because of the key passive this build revolves revolves around Vital Strikes. Vital Strikes allows us to deal a multiplicative 45% increased damage to vulnerable enemies. It also allows us to heal when we hit vulnerable enemies and gain 5 vigor. In the process, it will consume the vulnerable effect, which is why it's so important to have so many skills that reapply it. By triggering Vital Strikes again and again, you'll not only boost your damage significantly, but also heal a lot and generate tons of vigor, which will help a lot whilst leveling. In this build, we also utilize the Ravager ability, which is absolutely busted and I think is going to be part of so many Spiritborn builds unless it's nerfed on release. It just has so many good things built into one skill. It passively gives stacks of ferocity, so it gives attack speed. When activated, it can boost our damage significantly for 6 seconds, and then this can be extended thanks to Enhanced Ravager and have very high uptime. Our other Jaguar skill for the build is Rushing Claw, which is going to function very similarly to a Rogue's Dash and really boost our movement whilst traveling on foot and speed up the entire leveling process. The ultimate ability I've gone for is the Seeker, which actually has 3 charges, which is kind of nuts for an ultimate skill. What this does is it summons a giant eagle which swoops down and deals a bit of damage, but then when it blasts off again, it will deal the major portion of damage. Ultimate skills generally whilst leveling tend to be a bit of a meme because you don't have enough cooldown reduction stat at low levels, so they tend to have pretty poor uptime. But with 3 charges of this ultimate, we will actually have respectable usage of this skill even at lower levels when you don't have enough cooldown reduction stats. Also, Spiritborn has so many amazing passive benefits that are associated with ultimate skills, so I can't see many Spiritborn builds not incorporating ultimates. One of these I do want to highlight, which is Intricacy, which will give you free casts of a potency or defense or focus skill for 5 seconds. You can actually combo this with Razor Wings. So you can literally flood the battlefield with Razor Wings. It's kind of nuts. And because you have 3 charges of your ultimate, you can get up to these kinds of shenanigans even more. Now I think without any items or aspects or tempers, this setup is going to absolutely dominate from the get-go. But the game does get a little boring if you don't have anything to chase item-wise, so here's a few things to look out for whilst leveling from 1 to 60. In terms of aspects, the only single one I'm going to hard recommend is the rebounding aspect, which for this build will be super powerful. This is going to make Quill Volley feathers explode for more damage at their apex, but also cause them to return to where they were cast, allowing for each feather to hit your enemy again. In terms of tempers, the 2 to look out for are chance for Quill Volley projectiles to cast twice, which is on your weapon. Double the feathers, 16 feathers sounds pretty crazy, need I say any more? And then you have Quill Volley size on your armor, so there's even more AoE coverage from your skill. There are no mandatory uniques for the build, but my god, do some of these unique items for Spiritborn look crazy and will really boost the output of this build, or actually any Spiritborn build. So here's a few that I really like for this one. You have the unique helmet harmony of Ebawaka, which will make your skills have a possible 3rd spirit animal based on your secondary spirit of choice. So say if we use Quill Volley, which is an eagle skill, our primary spirit is Jaguar, so now it's also a Jaguar skill. And with this helmet, if we make our secondary spirit a gorilla skill, we're going to have 3 spirits and 1 ability, which can then boost the damage by up to 150%. Any of the 3 unique rings I've put here will seriously boost our vigor generation, which is going to help out a ton whilst leveling as well. And there's actually loads more that I've actually probably missed because all these Spiritborn uniques look so powerful. But I'll be here all day, and for the purposes of a leveling build, we don't want to rely on any uniques. So let me go over the skill tree. There will be a leveling path for the build listed for you to follow in the planner as well. Start by putting 1 point into Thunder Spike and 1 point into Enhanced Thunder Spike for more vigor generation. Unlock Quill Volley as soon as possible, then go back and get Accelerated Thunder Spike so your Evade becomes an attack as well. Then get Enhanced and Advantageous Quill Volley. Then go ahead and put 1 point into Ravager, 1 into Enhanced Ravager, and 1 into Replenishing Ravager. The reason we don't go for Measured Ravager is because it may interfere with the ranged aspect of Quill Volley. With Quill Volley, we want to maintain that range and not dash towards our enemies. After this, go back and max out Quill Volley to 5 out of 5. Then put 1 point into Vigorous so you can put 3 points into Velocity to generate vigor whilst moving. Put 1 point into Rushing Claw for more mobility, 1 point into Razor Wings, get Enhanced and Invasive Razor Wings. Then get Enhanced and Invasive Rushing Claw. Unlock your ultimate ability, the Seeker, and then get both Harmonious and Exalted Seeker. Put 3 points into Apex to boost damage against vulnerable enemies, then put 1 point into Brilliance so we can put 3 points into Acceleration for more movement speed. At this point you should be able to unlock your key passive Vital Strikes. Now we go back and get all of the ultimate ability passive skills. We put 3 points into Resolution, which means we boost our damage by 15% after casting an ultimate skill. 3 points into Sustenance, which will heal you for 6% for hitting enemies with our ultimate skill. 3 into Spiritual Attunement, which will increase maximum vigor by 30, just for having an ultimate ability equipped on your toolbar. 3 into Supremacy, which will further boost your damage when killing enemies with your ultimate. It really does pay off to have an ultimate ability in any Spiritborn build. Now go back and max out Brilliance, make Razor Wings 5 out of 5, and then make your ultimate rank 5 out of 5 as well. Put 3 points into Potent and 3 points into Furnace. Remember, thanks to the Jaguar primary spirit, all of our skills are Jaguar skills, which means they benefit from these passives. Put 3 points into Intricacy and 3 points into Initiative, which means we have 3 charges to make us unstoppable, which is really useful to breaking crowd control as well in the build. Finally, we have a spare point which we can dump into Ravager. For the purposes of this video, I focused on this being primarily a level 1 to 60 video, so that you can absolutely shred from day 1 of release, so I won't be focusing too much on Paragon yet. At the time of release, I will update the build planner with some Paragon points so that you don't have to switch immediately for endgame purposes and keep this build going strong well on into the endgame. So there you have it, the Griffin Spiritborn build that manages to combine the range capabilities of the Eagle Spirit with the raw power of the Jaguar. Even without using the Centipede and Poison, this build will have great healing for the purposes of leveling without sacrificing on speed and lethality. If you found what I talked about today useful, remember to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel for more Diablo builds as we get into the new expansion. I'm Mr. Ronit, and that's it for today. Peace out, guys.